We aired our first episode last night, and it went pretty well. I got some very good feedback. I got some nice responses. I got some nice responses to the serious stuff, which I wasn't sure how that was going to play, if people were going to just get bored. But the sense I get is that people appreciated that it wasn't just me and you being idiots. Of course, it would have been wonderful to have had 10,000 viewers, 1 million viewers right off the bat, had, suddenly gotten a record deal or whatever, all the things. But what we did have, so far, here it's Saturday morning, 50 people have watched the show.
Wow.
53 views. I gotta assume only maybe 30 to 35 of those are me. 9 likes. I think I'm only responsible for 1 of those likes. And it's not because I was trying to drive our numbers up. It's because I legitimately liked it. There's no way I'm going to drive up our numbers to 1 million. And I certainly can't worry about that. But the main thing I'm trying to say is that several people said to me that they really liked the show. They love Juby. So far, everybody has said to, even people who I thought weren't gonna, like, I was concerned about Juby, not because he wasn't good, but because he's serious. His demeanor is, he's just so nice. He's like cute. He's a nice, cute guy.
Yeah.
Like he's lovable. You can see in the videos between the video of me and Juby and then some of the stuff we recorded later, I'm like 15 pounds heavier from when I started with the simple...
You cannot tell.
Well, I feel it. I feel it physically. Like I'm a mess, man. And I'm hungover from last night. I didn't get drunk, but I did have 2 beers and I'm a lightweight. Everybody loved Sport Game. Sport Game will be back. There's no question. We just didn't have time to film another for this episode. Crystal's on board. She really had a great experience, and we did too, and no question, Sport Game will be back. Juby was a really good guest. I do have other guests who are good, but they're different. My cousin Nicole said she wanted to be on the show. I got to get back with my friend Linda. I've been trying to encourage her to be on the show, but she doesn't think I don't know if she doesn't think she's good enough, or she's like, I think she thinks she's too crazy to be on the show. And I'm just like, no. That's what we need.
Cool.
Abu Shadi, we definitely have to have. He's going to be awesome. He just went to, I wish I could remember how to pronounce this, Rishikesh, India. That's where he's been for the last 2-3 months, doing a full body cleanse, shaved his head, finding himself and just bringing out his energy. I see him as like one of those people who is doing everything I wish I had not been afraid to do when I was that age. And I want to, just get that take from him of what, what brought him there. Is it that he really comes from this place of enlightenment, or is he just stupid? I have someone else I do definitely want to get on the show soon, is Eva Pearson. She's got a great segment she wants to do all about the F word. Feminism.
Nice. Very nice.
Are you a feminist, Andrew?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm an anti-sexist.
Anti-sexist is not the same as feminist.
I think I'm a feminist.
I know what I am.
What are you?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm a feminist. That's the stuff we're hitting. We're hitting toxic masculinity, white privilege, and that's probably it.
I'd love it if we could do an outtakes show where we're talking to each other and just crying the whole time. Wouldn't it be funny? I think it would be funny if we told the guests something they really weren't expecting.
I thought it would be good if maybe for this episode, if we just watch the first episode. And then next episode, we watch us watching.
It's just going to get better and better.
It'll be this very meta show.
It's going to get meta and meta and meta. I think it would go a long way to establishing our narcissism as, a central motivating driver.
I'm going to press play on the YouTube.
Count it off.
3, 2, 1. Just because the underlying backstory of this show is a post-apocalyptic world where you live in this dystopian society in the midst of a pandemic, as there's a nationwide uprising and the entire nation is on lockdown and can't leave their homes
You
or
can't. Yeah,
even
you can't fix your.
country.
You
We
can't
don't
fix
really
your
have to
hair.
talk about that.
Uh,
We can just go straight to
Look at how my
Gordon's
hair is
sketches, I guess.
just a little longer.
Yes.
Just a little
So,
bit longer
but I
now.
kind of wanted to. Nah. All right, here you go. What you see behind
This
me
is a
was
good.
one
This part is
beautiful
good.
landscape of thriving businesses and flourishing trees.
Oh.
Now reduced to a gray blanket.
And what you see behind me was once a thriving metropolis.
See, these are the moments where I'm like, I have to just accept
Curtains.
that
Curtains for all of you.
We have to be
you're
careful
funnier than me.
about not talking over each other, because we don't want to be.
I have no.
It's very quick,
talking heads who just like shouted. Let's do.
and it's nice because we're obviously it's very obvious that we're playing off each other. We're not super smooth.
No, I would say that that's a pretty accurate assessment right there. We are not super smooth.
And
How much longer do you think people will
Grateful Dead.
tolerate watching us watching our show without them being
Forever.
able to see it?
So, you know, the Grateful Dead are the best band that has ever existed,
The
and
best album they ever made was the
Oh.
Soundcheck album. I gotta get the puppies.
Do you have like? Are we shutting down?
Unless you want to hang out for 3 to 5 minutes.
If you're cool to come back, then definitely come back.
All right.
So I know sometimes Andrew has things to say while I'm off camera, and so I'll just take this moment to say that I have a practical joke I'm planning to play on Andrew that I'm not going to record what it is right now because I let him rewatch these episodes, but in a separate recording, I'm going to record myself telling you what the practical joke is that's coming, and then I'm going to let it happen, and then I'll edit that back in so that you, the viewer, are in on the practical joke. But Andrew is not. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
So I was sitting here for a while talking to the viewers, and we came up with this idea. What if we treated tried a segment where we treat the viewer like they're actually part of the show? And, you and I mostly talk to each other, but maybe we should include them in some way. So I thought, let's just go with that. Like there's actually, like the viewer is here watching with us now. So yeah, let's just try for a minute. Like I want to include the viewer. Okay, so it'll just be the three of us.
I'm staring directly into the camera at you, viewer, so you feel completely acknowledged.
Yeah, I mean, and it's only, we got to find out, like, are you cool with this?
Well, you don't have to decide right now, but think about it.
Well, we don't, I mean, honestly, we don't know, like, what they said. I finally figured something out, and this is important. If I want to speak to you, so if I'm talking to the viewer, I'm talking to you now. When I'm talking to you, I'm going to be like this, and this will actually help. It's very easy. And Andrew, you can do this too. It's just we have to remember to do things opposite. So, like I'm talking to Rob. Hey, Rob. Rob liked the show, by the way. So wait. So now I'm talking to Rob. So Rob, I'm talking to you now, and now I'm gonna, or whoever. I guess I shouldn't say the name in case there is another person watching. So I'm talking to you now, viewer. And the key is for Andrew is that I just have to look the other way. So now, Andrew, I'm talking. Andrew, I'm talking to you now. Is it obvious that I'm talking to you? I can't tell because I can't see the camera.
On my screen, you're facing away from me. I don't think it ever lines up. We did that.
I just meant that I was right, but so on my screen I'm facing the right way. So I'm looking at you. So Andrew, I love you. So let me go back here. Viewer, I love you too. So Andrew, why don't you talk to me for a minute?
Oh, excuse me, viewer. I'm gonna I have to say something to John. John, don't ignore the viewer. Whatever you do, you know what I'm saying. Keep the viewer in mind and in your heart, and and shower the viewer with love because you
And,
love the viewer. You hear
Andrew,
me?
Andrew, you're talking about them like they're not even here. I mean, show them some respect. They're like right here in in the show with us.
Am
And
I not showing you enough respect? I feel like I'm being very respectful.
listen, I'm trying to protect your best interests. So just go along, work with me on this, all right?
He really is very protective of you. The other night he said to me, I'm worried about viewer. She seems a little off.
Zay. You say Zay now, Zay. That way you can cover everybody.
Oh, Zay. Yes, they seem a little off.
They seem a little off. Um, so honestly, I don't even think I'm going to talk to Andrew anymore because he's so argumentative.
I am. I all I do is argue, and I don't want things to go that way with us, you and me. So I'm just gonna yes and you.
have some have some coffee. It's good.
Oh, have some of mine.
No, my coffee's better. Careful, don't spill your coffee on the computer, Andrew. It's good. I use the special perking method.
Special method. What method do you use?
I was talking to
Viewer?
the viewer. Andrew, you know what?
Yes.
Let's go. All right, viewer, I'm glad you watched this segment, but we're going to pretend you're not here now and go back to our regularly scheduled show.
Bye, viewer.
Bye, viewer. Scott Sickles is an award-winning playwright and has been a writer for the daytime soap General Hospital for the past 8 years. He's an 8-time Emmy Award nominee. He has a reading of his new play, Mariana's Trench, with the Road Theater Company on August 9th. So let's put our hands together virtually for Mr. Scott Sickles. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm hanging in there. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. I see you're where you're in the Alps today. You're
I am actually in Tierra del Fuego, Argentina. It's a lovely part of Queens, and right near the water, as you can see, with the colorful houses. It's a place that's kind of always fascinated me, and I want to visit there. There are references to it in my play Composure. It's just, it looks like a beautiful place. One of these days I want to go. I would rather be there now because it's winter there. It's presumably less muggy.
I saw Composure at the Workshop Theater and really enjoyed it. I found that your plays are intelligent, funny, deep, and push buttons. You trick people into being comfortable by enjoying themselves, and then you smack them over the head. And I love that. How did you get into playwriting? Is it something you were doing as a child?
Well, I think the first play I wrote was in elementary school. This is the kind of parental supervision I had at the time. I had just seen a little movie called The Exorcist. And I think I had also read a Mad Magazine parody, but it was the mid-1970s. And, if you were a kid, you were reading Mad Magazine. I wanted to write a send-up of it for the elementary school, for The Exorcist, R-rated movie, for the elementary school talent show, and we actually started to rehearse it, but it did not happen due to artistic differences. I think I tried to write a screenplay in high school, and it was longhand on loose leaf, and it was just like, no. When you're that age and you're trying to write from some sort of experience and you don't have much, you're kind of doing a lot of sort of fictionalizing and transcribing conversations that you and your friends actually had. It kind of makes people angry sometimes. So
When you bring their truth into your story.
yeah, and it's like, okay, well, then perhaps you should not have done that thing that I just wrote about you having done. And that actually that actually follows through, I think, with plays like Composure and Mariana's Trench, which are both deeply personal plays. Several things in them are not reenactments of personal experiences, but are certainly specifically inspired by them.
There's no question that the best art comes from real life and from your personal pain. I don't know if you've seen Passing Strange. There's a song in particular, Work the Wound, that's what we do as artists, is we work the wounds to turn them into that beautiful art.
I used to have this policy. If I didn't like someone and I put them as a character in something I was writing, I would use their real name. And someone found out, it's like, oh, I heard you put me in your play. My idea was, okay, well, why don't you sue me? Why don't we just get out there? We can stand in a court of law and you can say, hey, the asshole in that play who does this terrible thing, that's me, by all means.
The horrors, whatever they may have been, whether it's abuses or bullying, just the pain that I dealt with growing up is what has made me an artist with some depth and a human with some empathy, and that I'm in a place of gratitude for it now, as challenging as those times were growing up. I can't imagine you'd have the types of plays you have that have so much emotional strength and so much ability to move people if you hadn't gone through the things you went through.
Oh, no. And on one hand, there's a certain amount of alchemy in that, when, they're throwing lead bricks at you, you have to turn them into gold. But, the art comes from what we survive. Mm-hmm. And there are times when I am, not all of them, but there are some bullies I am grateful to have had. Yeah, and in the plays we've been mentioning, Mariana's Trench took a lot from my childhood. There are very specific painful moments in that play from my childhood. And the first time we did a read through of that play, I told the cast, I said, thank you for coming. I can't really talk about this right now. And I've never done that. There's in Composure, there's an assault described that actually happened to me when I was 15. And so that's an autobiographical recounting of a particular assault. And the person who did that happened to reach out to me at some point and just sort of reconnected with me and apologized for, it was a blanket apology for all of the horrible things that he had done to me over the course of the years we knew each other. So that was, that was something. It was sincere, and it's a testament to like people who you would assume are not capable of change can in fact change.
I thought you were going to say that he wanted to go to court.
I was prepared for that.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
A lot of my plays are set either directly or indirectly in Pittsburgh. Sometimes I will say this is set in Pittsburgh, and other times it will just be, that's where it is in my head. Composure, that's where it is in my head. Mariana's Trench, half of it is set in Pittsburgh.
Let me ask you a question about composure. When you've written something that came from a very personal space, but you've gotten it out, you've completed the thought, and you've sort of, you've rewritten the end of the story in a way that that completes it. Can you watch a show like that now, years after the experience and years after even having written it, from a place of distance where you don't get emotional when the moments come up?
I can watch it and I can get emotional at those moments from the point of view of an audience member. For Composure, yes, I can do that. There are parts of Mariana's Trench where I'm right back in my childhood, and it's like reliving a lot of that stuff over again as it's happening. But Composure, there's a lot of distance. I think one of the things that helped with Composure is that it went through such an arduous developmental process, and the rape itself wasn't reenacted; it was talked about.
Right.
So so there was already that distance. There were so many truly awful dramaturgical discussions. It's the story of a small teenage boy who is taken advantage of by a bigger, stronger boy, and I'm getting feedback from dramaturgical sources who are men who are both heterosexual and over 6 feet tall. and they're not understanding why this is not a boys will be boys, and why aren't they just experimenting, and couldn't they have just been experimenting? And I'm like, had to re-explain what happened in actual dialogue later on in the play, in a scene that I have belovingly nicknamed Rape for Dummies. Okay, this is how this works. And they're like, it doesn't make sense that this assault happened in what was the beginning of their relationship. And I'm like, okay, well, he actually says in the monologue that he wasn't aware at the time that that's what it was. You would clearly be surprised at how common it is for people to not realize that they have been raped, because it was not like a knife in an alley. Mm-hmm. It was, your consent was disregarded, and it happened without your consent. That still counts. And it's just like, have you ever heard of marriage? Because it happens all the time in those. So there was a lot of arguing about these points. So for as frustrating as that was at the time, that sort of adds another layer of objectivity when you actually have to explain this very personal thing that happened to you in very clinical and sociological terms. So there was that distance there.
I'm wondering if your parents are still around, and if they are, if they have seen any of your shows, and what their experience is when being aware enough to know that they're at least to some degree based in your personal life.
They're not still around. But I lost my dad in 2014. I lost my mom a little over a year ago. My dad was German. My mother was Korean. And so there's a whole lot of shame in those cultures that is passed down, and it's just piled upon you. The German background, it's you have to be ashamed of what you did today, and you have to be and we're all ashamed of you now. Whereas in the Korean background, in the Asian background, it's you are imperfect, and that imperfect has brought shame to yourself, to me, to all of your ancestors, back to the beginning of our line forever. And Mariana's Trench deals with kind of both of those. Oddly enough, my mother, who was not a supportive person, when my mother passed, we had not, in fact, spoken for many years. These relationships are complicated, but interestingly enough, my mother was the first person in my immediate family who came to see a play of mine. And I had not expected her to come, and that's how I accidentally outed myself to my mother. There was one, my play Intellectuals, there was a reading of it, and at one point the gay couple kiss, and you could hear one voice in the audience go, ew, that was my mother. My father, who was, a white man who married a Korean woman, was a universal bigot growing up. He hated, like blacks, Hispanics, Jews. There was just a long list. It was everybody. He hated everybody, including the left-handed. My first exposure to what a gay person was Jody Dallas on Soap. And it was Billy Crystal's character.
Sure.
And he was always referred to as a suicidal homosexual. And it was like suicidal homosexual was one word. And of course, my father was a homophobe. And so, of course, I had to ask him what it meant. And of course, I'm learning from my father that people like me, and he was always worried that I was this way. I was learning at a very young age that homosexuals are perverts and deviants, child molesters and rapists, and they hate women, and they kill themselves because they're unhappy and evil. This is me roughly at the age of 10, lying in bed by myself, forcing myself to say the words, I am a homosexual, out loud, as a alone 10-year-old, just alone in the universe.
But I remember being a kid and seeing Soap, that Billy Crystal character, that was my first awareness of anybody being gay.
Yeah.
And I remember it being funny. There were a lot of things about that show that were very funny at the time that if you watched it now, you'd be, I can't believe they said those things.
I've been hearing chink all my life. Margaret Cho, who has long been one of my heroes, when she was down south, someone called her a chink, and she said, don't call me a chink. Chinks are Chinese. I'm Korean. I'm a gook. Like around the third grade or so, I was getting called faggot a lot. In the mid to late 80s, everybody wanted to be bisexual. And I think it was the kind of the safe way to be like, well, I'm not gay, but I'm into dudes too. It wasn't until college that I actually came out to friends. and family. And I remember my father and I were having an argument over breakfast at Denny's. Somehow the conversation turned to him having a right to know whether or not I was gay. And I was like, really, do you feel that way? He's like, yes, I do. And I said, fine, yes, I am. To his credit, while disappointed, he was not surprised.
Growing up in high school in particular, oh, good, you brought the penguins.
Yeah, I brought the penguins back.
That in our age range, that being seen as gay was the worst thing you could be in high school. One thing that I love seeing now, when I look at my kids, these kids, they don't care one way or the other. My son has one friend who had a female name 3 weeks ago, has a male name now. They just keep switching around. They really, they don't care. They're interested in each other and they love each other, and they kind of get off on messing with our generation. They're happy with everybody. The main thing they don't like are people who are jerks.
There is a knee-jerk reaction that kids will have to differences. And you know how fickle kids are, you know, with it's like, you're different, you're weird, I hate you, let's play. You're my best friend.
Scott, it's been really a pleasure talking to you. I will mention again that you have a reading of your new play, Mariana's Trench, and that's going to be taking place on August 9th with the Road Theater Company. And I'll put a link below, so if people want to sign up and attend the reading, they'll be able to. If I'm actually able to manage to continue to have shows, maybe you'll come back again and we can talk.
I would love to.
Awesome. Thanks so much. This has been Scott Sickles.
I remember when I met the William Shakespeare, and I went to his apartment. I went to ring the buzzer, and I couldn't remember. Was it 2B or 3F?
So viewer, how are you enjoying this episode? Is it good? We had such a good experience with that first episode. And I don't know if the second episode is going to be as good. It might not be. And I'm hoping that our first episode is good enough that you, viewer, will stick with us, and that you'll still give us a shot. Let us get our rhythm going. We've never done this before. You know, Andrew and I are just old friends, and we just plain and simple, we never did this before. One of the things I learned about myself sort of later on in life is that I don't really like to read a book. I'm much more of an auditory learner. I'm much more about sound, and so I got much more in the habit of listening to books on tape, you know, whether it was CDs or downloads or whatever it happened to be.
You're also very high kinetic energy. I can't picture you sitting and reading for like a long period of time.
This is how I read a book. It'll be at night, climb into bed with a book, page 1, 12 words. I'm out. The last book I read took me 2 years because I'm always falling asleep. You know, I'd read 6 pages, fall asleep, go back and read 4 of those pages again because I didn't retain them at all. A writer I just really kind of noticed is Bukowski, Charles Bukowski.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a copy of Ham on Rye. And as I'm listening to it, I realized I've read this before. I must have read the book back in college or something. And, you know, I kind of forgot about it. But it's like, all these stories just seem so familiar to me. Yeah, because you read this book before.
Yeah, it's happening more and more.
I like when you read a book again and it's all new because you're in a new place. That happened to me, you know, when I watched Animal House. We grew up on some movies that they taught me what it was to be a man. Mm-hmm. And they were wrong, just flat out. And Animal House is a perfect example. I saw Animal House when I would say I was only 10 or 11 years old. It was a rated R movie. My father brought me into the movie, and we happened to walk in right at this moment when John Belushi is on a ladder looking into the women's sorority house. He's basically spying on a woman undressing. As we're walking into the theater, walking down the aisle, he just leans over to me and says, "You shouldn't be watching this." But then we proceed to sit down and watch the whole movie. I watched that movie, and those guys were the coolest guys ever. Since that time, I've always just thought of that movie as a funny, happy-go-lucky movie, whatever. So I rewatched it recently, a few years into the Me Too movement. People kind of waking up. Really all that's happened is women have become vocal about the inequities and about the abuse. And some really bad dudes have been called out for their abusive behavior and have been arrested. So I decided, all right, let me go back and watch Animal House. I'm sure it's not as funny as I thought it was when I was 11. So for starters, it's not funny. It's stupid. These guys who are in this frat, they are scum. It's like as simple as that. They're stalking women, drugging women, raping women. There's nothing cute or funny about it. They mistreat the dean of the school. All this guy is trying to do is run a college and educate people and help people advance in their lives. There are people who would dream of going to a college who could never afford to. You know, I was sad for myself because there's so many decisions I made throughout my life that are based on what I was taught as this is what it is to be a man. Clearly, I was mistaught.
What's the matter with you? What are you, some kind of pansy or something?
Of course I'm a pansy. What do I look like, some kind of daffodil?
You got a problem, pal. You gotta toughen up. When those people come around and try to pick you, you better be ready for them.
How do I get ready? I don't think I could be ready.
First you gotta get mean.
Mean?
Yeah, mean. Then you gotta get tough.
You want me to be tough?
No, not tough. Tough!
Tough!
Oh, tough!
Tough!
From deep down in the roots there. Tough!
I think I'm gonna faint. Tough!
Now you're getting it? Tough!
Tough!
Tough! Tough!
When it comes to language, a big one that always gets me when people say that something isn't a word. One of the dictionaries officially took the meaning of literally to mean not literally.
That's great. That's
I
very
can
funny.
say that literally drives me up a wall, even though it doesn't. But I realize when it comes to language, words are tools. Sometimes you use a tool one way, and sometimes you discover, oh wow, I can use that tool a different way, and it still works.
I'm having trouble with the personal pronouns. In 1987, I clearly remember in school thinking when we're speaking and we want to include males and females, we don't say him or her, we just say their. We say, well, they're going to go in their car. Or I'm going to wait for the cab driver and do whatever they say. You just say they because you don't know if it's going to be he or she. But don't just do what your cab driver says, kids.
That is good advice.
But now there's an effort to kind of shape that and force that. When it's actually language, it's going to evolve by itself.
It is a little bit confusing when you're talking about a single person who doesn't define themselves male, female, and they want to be called they. Because obviously they has the implication that there's more than one person. So sometimes I'll be talking to someone who's transgender or referring to someone who's transgender and they'll say, yeah, they went to the store. Oh, who did Zay go with? Zay seems to be the way, the Z-E, the Zay.
Zay fixed that. Yeah, I like that.
I do wonder though, transgender or not, however you happen to define yourself, do you refer to somebody as they if they have multiple personality disorder?
Right. I mean, out of respect or out of fear?
Honestly, either. An easy one, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
They coming to the party really want Mr. Hyde.
Right, I don't want him, but I want him.
Yeah.
But will I accept them? I guess that's true of everybody, you know, like we all have our strengths and weaknesses. You know, any person, I never really want them. I just want the one of them, the good one. But you do sometimes need the bad one, because even if they literally or not punch you in the stomach, sometimes that's a lesson you need. Sometimes getting hurt is the only way we grow.
Yeah, we don't know what's best for us, that's for sure.
Andrew, can I just try like punching you really hard and you get hurt? I'm just gonna punch
Okay.
the camera. We'll do like a special effect. This will be
That'll
fun.
be good.
Okay, ready?
But you have to remind me, do I turn this way to get hit? Or do I...
This is gonna be right in your face. Ready?
Oh man, all right.
Ready? Nice. Hit me. Come on, hit me. Come on, hit me. That was good. All right. This is some toxic masculinity right here.
Almost spilled my coffee.
Come on, bring it.
Okay. Hold on. I got puppy duty calls. Can you hold on 3 or 4 minutes?
No problem.
All right.
So my next guest, I met him at a bar on the Upper East Side of Manhattan back in 1996 on St. Patrick's Day. And we had a great conversation then, and I haven't heard from him since. I haven't seen him since. And he just happened to contact me recently via Facebook. And I thought, what better way to reintroduce an old friend other than just bringing him on the show. So let me introduce to you Buckee O'Brien. Here he is. Hey, Buckee, how are you?
Yo, how you doing, John? Doing good. Good to see you.
How have you been? What have you been up to?
Man, I just, been trying to make it, Last couple of months have been kind of hard, but luck of the Irish, as they say, man. Luck of the Irish.
That's right. I forgot that you are actually Black Irish. I forgot.
Yeah. Black Irish, man, Try to make sure that I represent power to the Shamrock.
Part of what I'm trying to do with this show, is really confront issues of race and understanding of one another. Can you share some of what you've been experiencing? You've been in America all this time.
Yeah, man. I've been here, and I've been trying to get my black accent on, but it's hard, because sometimes I just fall into the Irish. Like I was saying, it's hard. It's hard because I try to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, and they tell me that I can't be celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and I don't understand it. We all had to struggle, right? Why can't I struggle? I'm doubly struggling.
You're doubling and struggling there.
Yeah, doubling struggling. My people ran. It just so happens, we ran to Ireland. I've been trying to make sure that I represent for the black people right now. Let the Irish sit back.
Sure.
Nobody respects me. They don't respect me.
Do they think you're a fraud, or do they think you're pretending to be Irish?
John, how many black Irish guys you know?
I just you. But
like I said, come on now. We're everywhere. We everywhere. I know a black Jew. Don't you know one?
12 tribes, yeah.
So now you know a black Irish guy.
If you've been in the States now for all this time, I guess you've been experiencing some of what's been going on recently with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, the protests. Have you been on the ground in that? Have you been marching or involved in some way? What have you been doing?
I ain't been going nowhere, man. They gonna kill me. Shit. I think about it. That's when I get real black. I can't walk up to them and say, yo, don't kill me. I may look black, but I'm Irish. So I sit back and I play online, what they call it, I troll. Yeah, that's what I do. I troll.
Like a leprechaun.
Yeah. I went to that march in Tulsa. Got my ticket, too.
Okay.
I bet you I made America great that day.
That Tulsa was the home of Black Wall Street, and that whole area where prior to desegregation, black people who were living amongst themselves, not connecting with the white community, were actually able to keep money in their community for a long time. And as a result, you ended up with some very wealthy black people there.
You mean to tell me that there used to be a place where black folks didn't have to deal with white folks? In America?
There was. Yeah.
Well, I'll be damned. I guess I should read a book or something.
You know what? I'm not going to pressure you on anything. You got to be you.
I'm still fighting for the causes, though. I'm out there.
What kind of causes are you, do you have specific agenda items? Are you looking for reparations? Are there specific actions you want to see happen in this country?
Yeah, I want to see the bars open up again. We got to have a drink, right? How are we supposed to solve the problems of the world we not having a drink? Bring your glasses together, boom. So I'm for the AA people. No, not AA. I'm for the liquor people, whoever's supposed to be drinking. I'll support that NAA thing.
NAACP.
The NCAA, the basketball thing. I got to bring that back. I support all that other stuff you mentioned too.
Okay.
I'm going to write a check for them. I got my checkbook right here.
You know, it sounds like you've got your act together. What have the past few years been like for you? Any hard times?
Nah, I ain't been too hard. People love having a black Irishman in the group. I can jig and I can swig, you know, so they all cool with me. So it's all good.
So, Buckee, I'm not completely comfortable with this conversation because, how do I say it? You're kind of racist.
What?
You're busting on Irish people for being drinkers. You're not really busting on black people, but
I'm talking about myself, John. When you talk about yourself, it's all good. I'm not keeping any secrets. The only thing I'm telling that's not truth is I'm really not at my own house right now, you know.
Oh no, where are you? Or can you not divulge that?
I'm somewhere on the Lower West Side.
Okay.
I don't want you to think me ill, and don't call me a racist. You know, I talk about all peoples. That's what y'all do here in America. You talk about peoples. We don't talk about peoples where I'm from.
Where's that again?
You know, I told you earlier. The same place.
The Upper West Side.
Right, the Upper West Side.
I do think the only way we're going to solve any problems is we got to talk about things. We got to be able to confront our own challenges, our own biases. We got to be able to speak freely with one another. First, you got to bring the light, and then you can make it right. That's our way. Is there anything you feel specifically about any other groups or cultures, things you want to see changed?
I don't understand why people don't love each other. Seriously. I'm black. I'm Irish. I love myself. So if I love myself that way, why can't you love somebody that you don't know? I want to see people love and learn. Why can't I learn from you? That's what I want people to do. They look at me and they say, you can't be black and Irish. Why? Because they only see me as being black. But if I tell you that I'm Irish and I say something against Irish, you make me feel bad. Because you see me as black, you can't see nothing else. I could be a whole bunch of things, but you won't see those things. If I dressed as something you want to see, you're ready to see it. But if I dress as something you're not ready to see, you're still going to see what you want to see.
That's heavy. You know, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I did. I called you racist because you were mocking the Irish. I suppose a better word would have been self-deprecating.
What is that?
You know, because you're basically calling yourself a drunk.
What day of the week is it? But I did not say we. I said me. There's a difference.
You really got it, man. I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. If you want to come back sometime, I hope you will.
Let me see if I can steal somebody else's apartment. Let me see if I can find some time.
This has been Buckee O'Brien joining me today on Jon Goldstein's regular show. Buckee, you are awesome.
Shamrock Power.
Power to the Shamrock. Got you. Shamrock Power, baby.
Sheep? Sheep. Here we go. Here we go. Puppies. Puppies. Nothing to be scared of, puppies. Look at how cute you are. Look at you. Oh, puppies. Okay, I'll put you down. I'll put you down. Yes. Alright, now we'll see how this works out.
See how I set that up so it looked like we both just came in at the same time? That's right. But now I talked about it and spoiled it. So I'm noticing something that's going on is your puppies are becoming like a central character of the show. And I was thinking at some point we should have them on as guests.
Oh, that would be great.
We might even want to do like a bring your pet to work day, and you could bring your puppies and I could bring my chia pet.
That'd be really nice, because your chia pet is a healing presence.
I don't think we really care about viewership. I'm very interested in allowing this show to... Really?
Really?
Your dogs are just scratching at the set?
Yeah, they found... They found some. I'm not going to tell you what they found.
And that is why I don't like dogs. I'm not all that concerned about viewership in the sense that I want things to evolve naturally. If people like this show, if we start getting a following, anything like that, I want it to be legitimately because we were really good and people really liked what we were doing.
Yeah, if you're just following the numbers, then you get lost.
And you also start producing content in order to generate views. One of the things my friend Linda said to me the other day, she was like, you gotta say like and share. There's this one guy, he's got this show, I watch it all the time, and at the end of the show he just goes, like and share, like and share, like and share. I don't want to do that. Like I'm not here for them. Viewer, I am here for you, viewer. I'm here for you because you're already here for me. You're already here with us. We're hanging out. It's just the three of us.
Yeah.
Or if you're with someone else, 4 of us. If people aren't interested, I can't be bothered. I'm not chasing you down. I spent my life chasing people to get their attention. In fact, that's kind of some of the words in the closing theme song right there. I worked hard all my life trying to get attention from folks who couldn't give it. Done with that. It's party time.
Party time.
I do think it would benefit us maybe to do a little bit of a, something that could be like a commercial for the show. I'm not paying any promotional fees. I'm not chasing down any social media.
No. We're just thinking about Rob and how are we going to help Rob feel out. Top priority.
Don't talk about him like he's not here.
I'm not, Rob. This is directly to you. I'm focusing in on you, Rob, and my telepathy tells me nothing.
So maybe even as we develop a commercial, we kind of have to treat it like what would Rob like in a commercial.
Absolutely.
One of the things I'm noticing, and I'll cut this moment, but I don't want to talk about Rob anymore.
All right.
Not that there's anything wrong with what you just did, but I think we're better off talking about viewer because we are definitely beyond that now. We don't just have Rob. We actually have quite a few people who are excited for our next episode.
True.
Are the puppies messing with your backdrop?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't like dogs. We were taught all our lives seeking attention from folks who could not give it, taking turns, both wrong and right, giving affection to folks who just dismiss it. Got stopped by every red light while out searching for the sign. Now we're here and it's all clear, we left that far behind. Now it's party time. Now it's party time. 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 Let's party! Like and share, like and share.